As we sit here and wait for lawyers on both sides to talk to the judge, want to go ahead and bring into our live team coverage Mark NeJame, News 13 legal analyst, live with us this morning. Hi, Mark. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so listen, you've been watching this as it started about 40 minutes ago or so. Let's talk about the demand for specific discovery, which is what's happening right now. The defense was saying very clearly they want clarification of a 911 call heard by Trayvon Martin's father, and they keep using the phrase cleaned up or enhanced. Do you see this as a strike? Because, you know, the state is saying, look, we admit to turning it over to the experts. So what is it that you want from us?
Well, there's really two issues going on right this minute. The one that just got argued and the judge ruled on is very simply that the tape that Trayvon's father supposedly listened to it doesn't exist. At least it hasn't been provided to the defense. So the defense is saying that Trayvon's father has gone public, or at least his lawyer has, and said there was another tape that he listened to, and he was able to clarify that, in fact, it was Trayvon's voice who was on the tape saying, "Help me, help me." When initially, when he first listened to the tape, he said it was not his voice. So they want that tape, if in fact there is one, that was enhanced. It's an appropriate request, but the state's saying they never had it. If it was done, it was done by his counsel and not the state.
Mark, as we continue our extended live team coverage here, I want to let the viewers watching right now that there's going to be a 5-minute recess, but we will continue here with you the discussion of what we just heard for the past 40 minutes. So we're kind of on a pause mode with the proceedings in the courtroom. Let's talk about the defense also focusing on witness number 8. That would be the girlfriend of Trayvon Martin. And I guess the defense is saying, look, this young lady's telling us that some of the text messages were missing that she had discussed with the state, and now some of the transcripts had some of her text messages missing. That seems very interesting today.
There's a lot of interesting things going on with witness number 8. As we now know, she's an adult woman and not a teenage girl. A big difference in the eyes of the law. So you've seen the defense repeatedly trying to get information that they can use to impeach her at the time of trial. That's the big part of what they've been trying to do. You're finding the state saying whatever she says, whatever she does, it's not ours to control, and if in fact she needs to be depositioned or cross-examined, let them. So she's becoming a real point of controversy because initially, you remember, we all thought that she was a 16-year-old teenager. Now we find out she's a 19-year-old young woman. Big difference in the eyes of the law. A woman who is to be treated like any other adult, or a child who's not reached the age of majority.
That's a good point to make, Mark. As we show the live pictures here from the courtroom, we see that George Zimmerman is being ushered out of the actual chambers with security and his defense team walking out behind him. Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, let me explain. What's going on right now is that there's an interesting play going back and forth. You heard a reference to 3.850. What that is basically the rules of criminal procedure, which indicate that it's a grounds to go for ineffective assistance of counsel. So what the state is trying to do is say they want to make sure that Mr. Zimmerman has waived his right to a stand your ground hearing, and that he's aware of that right that he's had waived. So with that said, they are wanting to make sure that he understands it so it's not a ground for appeal later on or a ground for claiming that there's ineffective assistance of counsel. So now you've got somebody who has Fifth Amendment privilege who's not required to talk being asked questions about whether he understands what he's giving up. So the defense has come forward and saying if he has to respond to that, they think it's untimely, it should be done at the end of trial, but the judge apparently wants to proceed and make sure that he understands that, he being Mr. Zimmerman. Well, if you're going to have it done, it needs to be done in camera, outside the purview or review of the state and of the cameras.
Very interesting. Okay, so look, we're going to go ahead and have you stay with us here as we continue our extended live team coverage of the George Zimmerman hearing here on News 13, an exclusive service of Bright House Networks. But we're going to pause for a quick moment, and we'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Time right now is 9:45, and we continue with our extended live team coverage of a status hearing that's happening right now over in Seminole County at the Criminal Justice Center. At about 7:30 this morning, George Zimmerman himself arrived. We have not seen him in any proceedings for quite a few months now, so this is the first time as we all sit, wait, and watch for the actual criminal trial, the actual trial to start June 10th. So right now this is a status hearing. The judge has gone back and forth with both members of the state prosecution and also the defense team, and so they have taken a quick pause here, a quick 5-minute break, and as we wait for them to come back into chambers, we want to go ahead and bring in Mark NeJame, our News 13 legal analyst, legal expert, who's joining us to break down what has happened thus far in the 40 minutes or so of the status hearing. So last time we had our conversation here just a few minutes ago, Mark, we were focusing on 3.850. Okay, that made my head spin. Right. Recap what that means in today's status hearing again.
Basically, a motion for ineffective assistance of counsel. What the state is wanting to establish and what the judge wants to make sure of is that Mr. Zimmerman, if he in fact has waived his right to a stand your ground hearing, is not going to come back, presuming a conviction, and claim that he had ineffective assistance of counsel through his lawyer and that he didn't really understand that he was waiving it. They want to cover that early, so in the event of a conviction, he can't come back and appeal it or claim that he had ineffective assistance of counsel. They want that on the record.
So much. Mark NeJame, News 13 legal analyst, joining us here to break everything down. Let's go ahead and take you back live to the Seminole County Criminal Justice Center, as we know that the judge has entered chambers once again, or is about to. She's sitting there, still on recess. We're just waiting for members of the defense team to come back into the courtroom with George Zimmerman. So I guess, again, we're on a pause. They've pushed the pause button is what it seems. Mark, let's continue our conversation. Producers, are we okay with that? Yep, let's go ahead and continue our discussion. Okay, so talk to me about what we can expect to happen next here today, because as you said, they have blocked out the entire day for this thing. So this could wrap up shortly. This could take all day long. As we move forward, focusing on the discovery of some of the items in the status hearing, what do you think? Will there be any bombshells today?
No, I think they're coming rather quickly, actually. This judge moves things along, and I think we're going to see that pretty routinely. You've already heard her make a ruling that says that once she's ruled, there's not going to be any argument coming back. Once she rules, she rules. So I think you're going to see her move at a pretty fast clip. I think that you're going to see this throughout, everything from motions to the trial. She's going to move it faster than a lot of people are predicting that she will. Here, we've got the biggest issues that have already started to come out. Basically, this if there's an enhanced tape that Mr. Crump has claimed that Trayvon's father had listened to, in which he later identified that being his son's voice, which contrasts to his first statement when you heard the cries of help me, saying that that was not Trayvon's voice. So I think they're coming back, so we'll come back to this in a bit.
Thanks, Mark. Mark NeJame here with our extended live team coverage. Let's take you back live to the courtroom with Mark O'Mara speaking once again.